This is animation creation, where we're going to make a zombie slayer. And the purpose of this was to show a walk cycle, but as true to form, I get out of control and make things really complicated. So I'm going to show you all 4 of the following steps of my process: how to draw, how to rig, how to animate, and then how to composite this thing together. And we're going to start with episode 1 and drawing. There are 4 parts to this episode, and we're going to start with the fun one. We're going to plan it. So I use Photoshop to do a lot of planning and sketching. You can use paper or pencil, whatever it might be. I did an initial sketch of a guy, and then I'd like to draw some alternative heads because maybe I don't like what I have here, and while I'm sketching I might as well give that a try. I'm using Kyle's brushes, just a simple couple of layers. I also have some colors. I like to make myself some notes, and then I'd go in and give it a test color. You know, what might it look like before I take it into an illustration program. Basic stuff to begin with. You should have a folder that's organized. I have other videos that show you that. These are my standard folders that I put in. And I'm going to drag and drop the Photoshop sketch into the graphics folder. And I'm also going to pin this guy over here, the main folder, so I can have access to it quickly. Opening up the sketch again, I'm going to toggle the colors off for now, so all I have is just these outlines, and then you get to decide what illustration program are you going to work in. Illustrator, Moho, Inkscape, something cool and different that maybe we don't know about. It's up to you. I use Illustrator, and this is my process. So let's go ahead and hide that, and then we're gonna Command Tab over to, Illustrator. There we go. I like to set my opacity to about 35% and then lock the layer so it doesn't move around. So now we have outlines. I'm going to draw the body and the bag and the shovel, and this head right here. I like this one. Some notes on sharp corners. So let's start with maybe the colors that I'm going to use here. So I'm eventually going to be using a drawing stylus and have a Wacom tablet, but I also use the mouse. So I kind of toggle back and forth. I'm going to use the pen tool, and I want default colors, except I don't want to fill. I want it to just be an outline. So hitting the backslash button. And then using the stylus, I'm going to go through and start clicking on some points of where I think this arm is going to be. So I'm just creating some shapes. To deselect in Illustrator for my shortcut is Shift-Command-A. And then just start drawing all these shapes. And I'm just keeping in mind that, okay, my style is sharp corners. Whatever you can do to keep that style going forward is great. Let's see, we got the sleeve. Maybe there's the inside of the sleeve like that. And every time I'm pressing Command Shift A, so I deselect the current artwork. Right here, I'm gonna, let's see, try that again. That's kind of a cool shortcut. So if you have a line segment and then you have the pen tool, you can press Option and it'll curve out a line for you. It's kind of a nice little shortcut. So basically that's kind of like a sleeve there, and you can go in and modify and tweak and do whatever you want there. We can do more tweaking in Moho once we get there. Okay, need to save your work, so Command S. I'm going to go to my Zombie Slayer folder, pick my graphics folder, and call this guy Zombie Slayer. And it's a .ai file, so I know that's my illustration file. And I'm going to keep going. Let's do this arm. We got a gnarly elbow, big old forearm, and then we got his hand over here. Maybe the outside of the the wrist there. And what I'm trying to do is really separate the pieces from each other because I want them to be colored differently. So like his arm is going to have a skin color, and then his shirt is going to have obviously a shirt color. Pressing Option, I'm going to pull that out. Maybe pull the handles out a little bit. And sometimes I'm just kind of sloppy with these things for speed. But I do want to close my shapes if possible. In Illustrator, if you end where you began, there should be a little loop, a little circle for you. Another tool, I'd like there to be some lines right here where the fingers are. So pressing the /, just draw out some lines. Those will translate really nice to Moho. We'll use those on the bag as well. Okay, saving periodically. I'm not going to draw the head because that one's going to be over here. So let's see. The body's going to be something like this. Okay, I love this feature in Illustrator. You take the corner widgets with the direct select tool and you can bring those in. You can control them together or separately. Just a nice little way to make some curves. I'm going to use my line segment tool, draw a couple of suspenders, and just some junky suspender clips here. I'll handle the width of the suspenders in a second. And they don't have to be perfect. I like it when things are kind of mixed up and different. So let's add some width to these. If I select both of those, stroke right here is at 1 point, so by default it's just a 1 point line. We can always adjust that more in Moho later. All right, so I'm going to use the Pathfinder palette now. Using the pen tool, I'm going to just draw a shape that is outside of the body. Pressing I, I'm going to click the body so it takes on the properties of the body, which is really only a 1 point black line, so we can see it. When you draw a new object, it takes on the properties of your old one. That's what happened there. Okay, so we have a shape, we have the body. I'm going to make a copy, Control C, and then I'm going to paste in front, Control F. Pressing Shift, I'm going to select my, these are the kind of like, it's kind of like the waist. And then I'm going to press this guy right here, Intersect, and it creates a new shape, and it really deletes the old body shape. Okay, so we got arms, we got a torso, and now onto the legs. The legs are going to be basically rectangles, and I have my smart guides on. Those are really handy. You can go into your preferences and set those. I'll show you what my settings are. Smart guides. I have anchor points and labels and object highlighting on. That's how I use them. There's not too much stuff in there, but you can control a lot of different things in there if you like. Here's one thing that I would recommend doing. You can do it here or in Moho. Bring that forward. I'm going to add another point here and another point here. Bring that up. And then I'm going to round that corner there and round that corner there. That'll help when things are rotating. Bring that down a touch. This little detail here can be just a rectangle like so. And that leg is very similar to the other one, so I can select it, press Option or Alt, click and drag, and let's go about right there. I'm going to rotate that guy and move this guy over here. So if we don't have to do more drawing, we don't have to. All right, that's pretty close. And we can bring these up. Something like that. Okay, the bag is just a series of really straight lines. So I'm going to go here, just kind of go around the outside. Try to end where I began. About right there. Okay, so that's the outside. And then I learned something about doing this once before. I always try to do the lesson before I teach it, is to make these lines long. They basically need to be almost ending at the pivot point and then going all the way. And then we'll control the stroke exposure in Moho. Having an idea of what's possible in Moho later on is a helpful tool. Like, okay, I know I can control that later, but I'm going to draw the artwork or the geometry now. Okay, some shadowy kind of shapes here. Now I had to think about color on this quite a bit, so when we get to the color section, it's a little tricky how to color the bag, but I'm sure you guys will think of some better ways to do that. Okay, then I want this kind of blood area right here. So I'm going to use another tool. It's the pencil tool. Great tool for shapes in Illustrator. So I'm just going to kind of draw this. And again, I'm just going to go outside and end where I begin, right there. Use that same technique that I used before for the shirt. Or for the torso and the waist anyway. So I'm going to copy paste in front the bag, select that new shape, and then press the intersect button. And there we go. We got this kind of blood area. Okay. You can add more details if you want to. I'm going to leave this alone for now. That's enough for me. Okay. And now off to the shovel. While I'm thinking about the shovel, I think I forgot some lines in the fingers, so I'm just going to line segment tool those for now. Okay, the shovel is going to be two parts. One part that's going to hang out of the hand here, and then the other part over here. I'm going to draw it together first. So let's do this. Let's draw one line like that. Hit enter, and the line is done. I'm going to increase that stroke to, I don't know, 22. Then go to Object, Expand, and hit OK, and it turns it into a shape. So now I know I have a straight line. I don't have to mess with anything. And then, let's see. I'm just going to draw a little shape over here that covers that. Select that shovel handle and hit this one, divide. It's an interesting button. Ungroup, delete the junk that was around there, and what it did is it just made a shape out of everything. So I actually have two parts now. So I'm going to select those two, eyedropper, and click on the line so my shovel takes on the properties of whatever it clicks. Just a black stroke. All right, let's zoom into this part of the handle. Select, P for pen, click, A for direct point, direct select points. Pull that out. I would ask you guys to, if you do this, make a different weapon. This is just a shovel with like a point on the end. I think you guys can do way better than I'm doing. This is not the most creative weapon for zombie slaying. So I'd be curious to see what you guys make, but I'm just gonna add a little shape to the end so we can color that a little differently so it looks like it's kind of carved away. Now there's tape over here, so you could do that with a stroke if you wanted to. Lots of ways to do it. I'm gonna do maybe just some different shapes so it's nice and easy. Maybe it's just some trapezoids and rectangles. just so there's some variety on the handle, kind of leading up to the hand like that. Okay. So if I was to select this thing and pull it away, it would look like so. All right, same thing over here. I just need some shapes for the tape. Add however many you want. Do 4 for now. All right, and then the shovel, I'm gonna go here, oops, here, and then like here. And then my goal is to make a triangle, but it's kind of at an angle, so that's okay. Pressing Option or Alt, you can bring out those curves. And then I need like a flat part to this, so deselect. Maybe something like, maybe a shape like that. Let's see. I also know that I want kind of a shine on this thing, so I'm gonna use my pen tool. Just draw some organic shape. Do that same old method, Control C, Control F, select that shape, and then intersect. Now I have like, I can add a shine or something like that to this. This needs to change. I'm gonna use the direct select tool, bring this point back here, P for pen tool, kind of curve that out so it's got kind of a rounded handle. You could add whatever you wanted to. And I'm actually gonna move this up so it looks like a little more centered. Cool. All right, there's your shovel. All right, on to the head. I like this head better than the one I drew originally. Let's start with the basic shape of the face. Just the pen tool and something like that. And we're gonna put hair on top of him. I'm gonna start here. Sometimes you need to use a pen tool. I'm gonna add some kind of Wolverine style beard to this dude. Some scruffiness. Maybe that comes up right there, comes down, straight over, up, kind of like sideburns right there. And then I'm going to use the pencil tool to continue. So these lines are a little more organic. Come down, some cute bangs. You know, while he's slaying zombies, he's got to look good. That's pretty cool. Okay, his nose. Can be like that. Control J will join a shape. Close it. I'm gonna create some lines for kind of like this angry brow that I'm gonna control later in Moho. And maybe this real brow right here is going to be something like that. I think in Moho, I'm going to make these thicker, probably maybe a different color. I might control them here in Illustrator as well, but for now, it's just the basic look. The eyes are pretty simple here. I think I'm going to push those a little further. So that's going to be like the black part. Control C, Control B is pasting back. And whoa, what do we got going here? There we go. That's going to be the white part. Control C, Control B. And then we want some big old bags under his eyes. Like that. This brow will mask those, I'm pretty sure. that's what I'll make it do anyway. So, and if you got one that's okay, just copy and paste. And once we start getting colors in there, we can tweak that. All right, ears, that's gonna be the pen tool. Nice and geometric. Maybe pen tool for the line there. I like to put a T in their ears. Now the mouth is going to be definitely the pencil tool. So it's more organic. The part that I'm going to do that's a little weird is the teeth. I'm going to draw way outside of the mouth because in Moho I'm going to mask them. It's just really good at masking, so Illustrator's not the best. Now we could use the Pathfinder or whatever, but it's just another way to learn, another way to do it. Cool. So that is the head. If I pull that, whoops. If I pull that away, I'm going to group that, Control G. That's what the head looks like right now. Making sure that we got everything. Looks like we got everything there. Yeah, group. And then we have the rest of the body. Gonna group a few things. The bag. I'm gonna group this leg, and then the rest of the now bringing the head on top of it. Obviously it's massive, so you know, maybe make it a little smaller. I pressed Option and Shift, dragging a corner that drags it out from the middle. So you determine, you know, how big is the head on this guy and how low is it. Something you can, you know, continue to tweak as you go. So that is the basic outline, and now we move on to coloring. For colors, we've already played with color, maybe in Photoshop. You can get them into Illustrator lots of ways. I'm going to make sure I'm on my color layer. I turn it back on. Use my marquee tool, any marquee tool. So make a selection. Control C, copy, and then Command Tab over to Illustrator and paste. And now we have our colors. I'm also going to separate this from my sketch so I can really see it. All right. Ungrouping things. Shift Command G. I know my boots are going to be red, so this is how I color things. You can make swatches if you want to. You can put them in your libraries if you want to. It's up to you, but it's really pretty easy to color. So you select a shape, press I, and then click. There's a better color than this that I want to actually use, so I'm going to make another swatch here. So I'm going to eye that. And then over here, my color palette, I like to view that as a hue, saturation, brightness combination. So I'm going to desaturate that, take down the brightness a little bit so it's more of a gray. I like that one a little bit more. Pants, blue. And then arrangement's a problem. Those are in front. I'm going to send those to the back. You can right click or Command Shift and then left bracket. That'll send them to the back. I also noticed that it got dim. That's because my sketch is still in the back. So you know what? Time to delete my sketch. I don't need it anymore. If you don't want to delete it, you can Control or Command 3 and hide it. But I don't need my sketch anymore, so I'm going to delete it. There we go. All right, these two are going to be this gray. And let's see, this is going to be here. So it's just a series of repetition. I'm going to ungroup as torso. where you select a shape and then you Control I. I'm going to send that to the back. That was Shift Command left bracket. I'll send both of those to the back. Arrangement in Illustrator is pretty easy, I think. Selecting both of those, it's going to be that color. These suspenders want to be that color too, but those are strokes, so how would you change the color there? Because if I pressed I and then clicked on that, it would set the fill color to that color, but the stroke color, there's none, so that doesn't work, so you have to do it a different way. Press X, bring the stroke to the front, press I, and then Shift. Fun little tip I learned after about 10 years of using this program. All right, this is in a weird spot. That's in a weird spot. There we go. Okay, these are going to be the same color as the shirt. I think these two probably will be as well. This and this need to be a darker version of the red. So I'm gonna choose the same red, press X again so the fill is the foreground color. And then in my color palette, if you have hue, saturation, brightness, it's really easy to just add a little bit of black to that. All right, those need to be in front. Something like that. Arranging of graphics, always an issue. Okay, let's color the skin. So I'm going to select those shapes as well as the face and use our skin color, whatever skin color you're going to make there. These kind of fingers need to be skin color but different. So I'm going to select all those, press X, I, but then Shift, it'll select the skin color, and then I just want to bring the brightness down, maybe make the stroke, I don't know, 3-point. In Moho, it will make these to be a curved point. You could go through the trouble of setting the cap to be round if you wanted to, but what a waste of time because Moho will do it for you. You can also set it to be not round, but by default I've seen it just kind of go that way. Oh yeah, ear is also skin color. All right. These can all probably be that for now. The mouth is going to be white. These are all going to be probably 2-point, and then that color. Just try to keep the same color palette. Nose is going to be skin color. I'm just going to bring it in front. Now we have a beard, all right, that is supposed to be in front of the face, but it's not really. So we're going to select that. Oh, that worked out just fine. This one is going to be here, but I also want that to be in the front, and I want it to fill with the skin color as well. So I Shift, there we go. So what this shape is doing, it's kind of doing this weird thing. It's trying to connect the dots here, but it doesn't have a stroke there. So that's going to work out in our favor. Bring this and this to the front. Okay, these two are going to be the same color as the beard. These two are the whites, same color as the background. These two are going to be kind of like this color. I'm going to Shift X and flop those. And maybe they get a little lighter. So they just kind of look like bags. Maybe they're even a little bigger than that. He's been killing zombies, so I could imagine this job being difficult. Okay, just a couple more things to color. His face looks pretty darn good. You could add shadows and all sorts of stuff to that. We're gonna actually add some texture later to the shirt. But yeah, shovel and bag. Let's do the bag. Bag's fun. So the bag's gonna be this color. It's gonna be bloody here. These lines are going to be this color. Shift X will flip-flop the stroke, but then I want the stroke to be darker and maybe 3-point, something like that. These shapes should be this color. I'm gonna Shift X and do that. Interesting problem here. You got a couple of shapes that are intersecting with the red. Now I want those to be dark red. So I'm gonna copy, paste in front, bring it in front. Copy, paste in front. Now I have basically one of each of those, and I'm gonna press the intersect button. So I have another shape, right? I have two now. Now I can go through and color this red, make it darker. Something like that. So if you didn't catch that, here it is again. So I'm gonna copy, paste in front, bring to front. Copy, paste in front. Shift select both. Pathfinder, intersect. I already have that color picked, so I can press I, click that guy. You may get some issues with some lines and stuff I've seen, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Okay, bag looks good. Looks like it's a bloody bag of something. Definitely something in the bag. I'm not sure what's in the bag. You guys make that up. And then finally, the shovel. Okay, so the shovel probably is going to take on similar properties to this. I want that to be a shiny, so I'm going to make it a lighter version. Oops, that looked pretty good. Maybe a little lighter than that. This is going to be a darker version. And then this and this are going to be I think they're going to be dark. And then these, let's see if I can shift drag. I'm deselecting things by pressing shift. Maybe that's white, maybe that's light. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to click and drag around. It's selecting the entire sphere. Pressing shift will either subtract or add selections. This shape should be just a little lighter, kind of like a little pointy part. I'd encourage you to put some blood on some things. I don't have a whole lot of blood on here, so I think that would be pretty great. All right, this needs to go behind his body like that, and so do these guys. There we go. Shovel 2 behind. So that looks better. You can see there's a little bit of artifacting there, but basically the shovel handle goes behind the body. We get some differentiation. That's a little weird right there, but I can live with that. Arrangement of the arm right here is incorrect, so I'm going to bring this forward. It should be in the front like that. Everything else looks awesome. So this is the illustration version. You have your colors. You've filled everything in. Some interesting issues with some shapes, lines that we'll take care of later, masking that we'll take care of later. And now let's do a little bit of texturizing with the shirt and with a bloody trail that's gonna, follow the bag. The bag's gonna leave this trail of blood. So let's do both of those in Photoshop. With Photoshop open, I'm going to create a new document, and I have a default that I call HD2. Basically, when you're creating something with pixels, you want more pixels than you probably need, just in case you need to enlarge something. This is something I've learned over time. Typical HD TV is 1920 by 1080. But if you were to make it 1920 by 1080 with 300 pixels per inch, it doesn't work. You have to have twice the pixels and 72 pixels per inch. So just a tip, hopefully that works for you. I have copied and pasted the shirt shape. All right, so I'm just gonna make it bigger from Illustrator. And so what we're gonna do is maybe I go back to Illustrator and get some colors too. So I want the suspender colors too. So I'm gonna paste that just so I have some colors to work with. All right, so I have those two things. I want a new layer that is just this big blob of red. Actually, I'm gonna move this guy out of the way and that guy out of the way. Okay. I'm gonna use, let's see, what brush are we using? We're gonna use the Gouache Go-Go. I like that. And just this big mess of red. It's just big enough to kind of cover that. Then I'm gonna go over to my colors and choose something a little darker. Maybe my brush is gonna be smaller and add some kind of grunginess to it. Like, he's been killing zombies, so his shirt ain't gonna be clean. This is not a Tide ad, that's for sure. And then I'm gonna go through and put some lines in his shirt. So I'm gonna sample. This is Option click when you have a brush in Photoshop. I love the Mr. Natural brush from Kyle's Brushes, and I'm gonna add some lines, just different weights. All right. I don't need any other layer other than that. Ooh, that's on the same layer. I'm gonna delete that. Okay, I just need this. Now it's not gonna be see-through or anything, so you could save this as a JPEG file if you wanted to. A Photoshop file will totally work. We got some extra pixels here, so this is what I like to do. Trim, image trim. And okay, it's gonna trim it down to all the transparent pixels. You can delete some of this stuff too. You could actually select this and go, okay, crop to my selection. We could save it as a Photoshop file too. That'll keep the transparency, might as well. And I'm gonna save that to my graphics folder, and I'm gonna call this shirt. All right, let's make another file using the HD2 setting. And I'm gonna make a new layer, Command-Shift-N, call this blood trail. And I want there to be this gross blood, so I'm gonna go back to my document and sample something here, and I'll probably keep that open so I can keep sampling it. Let's see, I like that one. There's some great gouache brushes, grinder, new pastel. Yeah, just really whatever you can find that's gonna be that's gonna add some texture to your blood. Okay, so we go back and we sample it, make the brush a little bigger. I'm gonna press Shift. That one right there is a little out of line, so I'm gonna. Okay, let's sample something lighter, add some layering. Maybe that one. I'm just pressing Shift here. Maybe we go back and get the darker color, or we make it darker here. That's good. I don't like how low that gets. You don't have to press Shift the whole time either. You can go in, go in and add some detail if you wanted to. However you want to make that look, it's really up to you. Another cool thing about this is you could use this as an eraser. I'm going to use this brush as an eraser. right here, click from normal and go to clear. Maybe make it bigger. And then you can go through and kind of use that particular brush to erase some things. So if you wanted to add even more texture to it, this is going to be, anything that's white is going to turn out transparent because I am drawing on a transparent layer. The background, you'll see right now, is just going to be deleted. So I'm going to save that definitely as a Photoshop file. I'm going to use that way later. So we're going to file save. We're going to call this Blood Trail. Save it to my Zombie Slayer graphics folder as a Photoshop file. I didn't trim this, so now that I've saved it, I could hit image trim, okay, and then just file save that again. And it saves on top. We learned a lot today. We illustrated a character, we found colors, and then we got into Photoshop and created some textures, including the shirt and some blood. We're just getting started, as you can see. Click on any of the next episodes to continue. Hope you've enjoyed this. This has been Zombie Slayer Episode 1. We'll see you in the next one.